Good afternoon. Welcome to this afternoon's Enterprise Committee. Today is December 5th, 2019. My name is Lene Palmisano and I chair this committee. With me here at the dais today are Council Members Goodman, Warsame, Fletcher, and Reich. We are a quorum of this committee and authorized to conduct today's business. We have 7 items for today's agenda. The first 6 are as posted. And item number 7 is in front of all of my colleagues at the dais. It is a contract amendment with Employment Investigations, New Vest for workplace investigations to take care of outstanding bills we have from investigations having taken place this year and manage one that is in progress. What this will do, we will get to this later, but I would like to ask my colleagues to approve this agenda change with the understanding that discussion item 6 is going to be delayed one more time until January of 2020. So we are adding what's in front of you, not on the printed agenda, as item 7, but I am also requesting that by way of this agenda amendment that we postpone item number 6 until January 2020 when we have more time to have our HR director come and explain the different ways that we have been looking at and will be doing these type of employment investigations. So all those in favor of making this change on the agenda, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries. First, let me read the consent agenda items, and we have people here in the audience who can speak more to them as needed. Item number 1 is a contract amendment with Everlaw for e-discovery and redaction software. Item number 2 is a contract amendment with OneNeck Solutions for an outsourced managed services for the city enterprise. Item number 3 is contract amendment with Bergen KDV Technology and Consulting for technical support for our payment card industry data security standard compliance for the Minneapolis Convention Center parking ramp system. Item number 4 is a contract amendment with West Publishing for online research services for the Minneapolis Police Department. Does anybody want to remove any of these items for discussion? Seeing none, all those in approval, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries. We'll move to our first discussion item, our city coordinator monthly update. We have Ms. Shelton Walczak to join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Palmisano. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Danielle Shelton-Volchek. I'm the co-deputy city coordinator. And I'll be, first of all, providing a brief update of what we've been doing in the city coordinator's office, and then with Kathy Doty, I'll be discussing some of our work with MetroLab. So to begin, the coordinator's office is in the process of bringing on a business analyst, tentatively starting next week, and a project manager to allow us to start business mapping and identifying how we'll function as a city in the new PSA office space. In the next week, we'll be convening the 3 new departments which were finance, IGR, and the attorney's office, who were added to the arts staff direction. We're convening them to provide the necessary background they would need about the prior work of the arts work group and give them information about the recommendation and an understanding as to why they were added to the work group moving forward for 2020. The 9/11 work group is reconnecting on December 13th after budget to identify the next phase and scope of work for that group, since the original staff direction has since expired. And the coordinator's office is working with various city departments, such as fire, regulatory services, and CPED, and has connected to MPHA to review operational procedures in the wake of the fire that just took place. And that is it. Before I go to the presentation and stand for any questions, I'd like to introduce Renee Youngs. She's in the audience here. She was just added to the city coordinator's office. She is our new policy research and management analyst. So if you recall Jeff Schneider, she's backfilling Jeff Schneider's position since his retirement a couple months ago. And so we are happy to have her, and this is her first committee meeting. It's her second day.
Thank you. Welcome, Renee.
All right. There we go. So MetroLab. Today, myself and Kathy Doty, who's with me of MetroLab, will be giving you a brief presentation about the program/network and how it has been and can be used by its participant cities. Our hope today is to provide an understanding of all the suite of opportunities that we can utilize in Minneapolis via our participation in this work. As a brief history, the city of Minneapolis, along with St. Paul and the University of Minnesota, were founding members of MetroLab, the local MetroLab, in 2015. Some of you may or may not be aware of this, but the city coordinator's office attends the local MetroLab meetings and any national conferences of this consortium. So as I stated, MetroLab is a consortium of cities and universities around the country. And as of today, there are 30 cities, approximately 30 cities and 30 universities who are participating. The goal for cities and local universities is to collaborate and solve challenging problems facing urban areas. Our local MetroLab group is comprised of the following people and governments. So we have Kathy Doty, who's here with us. She works out of Cura, and she's a MetroLab coordinator. And then the participants, of course, are the University of Minnesota, the City of Minneapolis, the City of St. Paul, and Hennepin County. So why are we involved, and why did we start this? The universities have expertise in research and development of technologies, metrics, evaluations, and range of other things. The cities, as a city, we have expertise in understanding infrastructure issues, community and programmatic needs, as well as we also have the expertise to deploy technologies, metrics, and evaluations. When we put all of that together, we get some of the advantages indicated on the slide you see in front of you, such as meaningful, relevant research, development, and deployment of solutions, resource data and findings shared across multiple jurisdictions with other cities, and better informed public policy and practice. And of course, through our utilization of students within the University of Minnesota, they get exposure to working in city government, and it creates a pipeline for us of new workforce. So with that, I'm going to pass the podium on to Kathy Doty to continue the presentation.
Welcome, Ms. Doty.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I'm a University of Minnesota employee, but I also am a resident of the city of Minneapolis. I live in Ward 13. So thank you very much for having me here. So why does the university care about this MetroLab consortium network? When they were invited to participate, they said, well, we really care about being relevant to our local communities, to the state, and to the whole world. And as a matter of fact, they, in 2015, they did some strategic planning, and they asked their faculty and other people to say, what does that mean to be a land-grant university and to be engaged in affecting our communities? And so they identified we've got here 5 kind of grand challenge areas. And they kind of overlap, but starting with the top there, one is assuring clean water and sustainable ecosystems. Clearly that's an important thing where they can add a lot of value. Fostering just and equitable communities, enhancing individual and community capacity, advancing health, of course, and feeding the world sustainably. So they see those are areas where the university can have special contribution to, like I said, our own communities, our state, our country, and the whole world. Well, let me say, before I move on from this, though, I want to mention, though, that was done in 2015. As you know, we have new leadership now. The president, I believe, came and met with you about a month ago. And she also has recently hired a new executive vice president and provost who's going to be starting in March, Rachel Croson. And so those are, they're probably going to put a new twist on the strategic direction when they get going. And so I think, but you can look forward to, I think, more of the same in terms of demonstrating what it means to be a land-grant university and having an impact and, on our local communities and working with our local communities. So just to give you an idea, we've kind of given the high-level picture there, but some specific projects, just to give you a sense. These are some of the things that we've posted to the MetroLab network. For Minneapolis, I'm sure you're aware of the study that evaluates the future directions of the ABC ramps in downtown Minneapolis, and those ramps were completed in 1992 as a part of with CMAQ funds, and the idea was to reduce congestion and improve air quality by reducing single occupancy vehicle trips in the I-394 corridor. But things have changed over time, and now there's a study to examine opportunities for ensuring that the ramps will continue to address transportation challenges over the next 25 years. So that's one of the projects that's going on. In St. Paul, they are identifying racial disparities in the criminal justice system in ways that their city attorney's office can contribute to reducing disparities at each point in the life cycle of a case. So there's lots of different opportunities to improve things there. And one, just Hennepin has done literally hundreds of projects with the universities over the last 14 years since the Hennepin University Partnership was created. And this is just one example where they developed a project with the university to collect data on Hennepin County screening rates and early intervention follow-up. This is around strengthening families and dealing with children. So they also are conducting a pilot intervention project with parent navigators. And the idea is that down the road, they want to develop community outreach systems with a pilot of parent navigators to broaden the Hennepin County Public Health, Thrive by 5, and Follow Along and WIC programs. So those are just, again, some examples. There's, like I said, literally hundreds of projects that we could give you examples on, and I'm sure you can think of a lot of projects as well that you're maybe aware of or that you'd like to get going. So I think the opportunities to connect to academia with local government are really limitless. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to Danielle.
Well, first I'm going to pause and see if there's any questions or comments from my colleagues. Councilmember Fletcher.
Thank you, Chair Palmisano. I am very interested in thinking through opportunities to engage this. But I guess one thing I'm wondering about is, can you point to projects where it's generated a set of recommendations or an understanding of best practices or how to proceed in a way that cities have acted on? Has any of this translated from research into some sort of a work product that then results in action yet? Or are we still working towards getting to that?
I think that varies quite a bit, but I think there have been a lot of recommendations that have been followed up on, but there are so many that I don't know exactly how to pinpoint. But if you look at Denver's doing stuff where they've developed a decision tool to assess the effects of climate change and growth on the built environment. So, I mean, they're using that tool. Nashville is looking at predictive modeling to forecast emergency response times. Portland is looking at how to do more data-driven decision-making and program design and evaluation, and that's a little bit more fuzzy, but that's something that they're interested in. Austin is looking at tools to analyze traffic, road use, and pedestrian behavioral patterns. And I could go on, but I think I'd prefer to follow up with you and give you a little bit more very specific changes that have occurred. I'm also aware of, like, in Hennepin County, one of the ones I think of right away is that they worked with the Carlson School, their data analytics lab program, and the students actually created a predictive algorithm to look at the probability of families being evicted from their homes, and with existing data. And the county is presently using that to try to figure out ways to intervene before the eviction occurs based on the algorithm that was generated by a classroom of graduate students. Does that answer your question?
And what's the best way for us as council members, if we have an idea for a study that would be helpful to us in our policy work, to get it on your docket?
I think just letting Danielle know. I mean, I'll be interfacing with Danielle on a regular basis. She's fun to work with. Should be very easy. So yeah, I would say get it to Danielle, and we talk on a regular basis. And there are just many different ways that we approach a request like that. sometimes it's just we know the faculty member that you should talk to. We just set that up. Sometimes we're not really sure. And like right now, Hennepin County is looking at their IT program and doing some strategic planning. We are pulling in, we're going to develop a meeting where we're going to have maybe faculty from 5 or 6 different schools come and talk to the county and say, so who's got an idea for how to approach this best? And then that will set up. So sometimes we know where to go. Sometimes we have to do a little bit of research in the front end to just figure out where it goes.
I think I would echo that. Ms. Shelton-Walczak, can you help us understand how MetroLabs is currently connected to the work of committees? Is it truly just the connection through the coordinator's office, and right now that position that it connects through is you? And from your own perspective, second part of this question, do you see a way to better connect the great resource and great work of MetroLabs into some of the work and questions and inquiries that we have as a governing body?
Right. Chair Palmisano, committee members, right now as it stands, and I've taken over since the last city coordinator in attending MetroLab. So as I start to kind of learn the landscape, what has essentially, as I see it, is that the city coordinator's office is really the conduit at this point in getting to Kathy Doty and MetroLab and regarding things that we might want to work on as a city. My hope here was not only to pique the interest of council members, you all, but also then try to figure out and develop a way in which we can start through the coordinator's office, getting this message out and understanding the suite of opportunity that's available to the departments too. I know that departments utilize the master contract, but the master contract is just a mechanism in which to kind of execute some of the things that are available through MetroLabs. But I think that there is a dearth of knowledge of really what is available through our partnership and our work within MetroLab. So that's something that, from my perspective, being in the coordinator's office, how do I work with Kathy in getting out the messaging to departments, and how, when we're looking at creating policy or developing programs, or we want to analyze programs, how do we let them know that this is a resource that is available to them? Does that answer your question a bit?
Yeah. Are there other questions or comments from my colleagues? No, I think it is important to understand that that master agreement with the university is no small body of work. And right now, I guess Renee would be kind of the person taking over that. But just so that my colleagues and other policymakers understand that the way to put feelers out to something like MetroLab might be through the master contract with the University of Minnesota, but it really would be a conversation with you to engage with Ms. Doty on what opportunities might exist, or just to get advice. I mean, something I heard Ms. Doty say that would be particularly helpful is simply, is there somebody currently doing research that you know of about whatever topic that is? A question that I did have that I just wanted to touch on a little bit more, you have health in there as one of the key areas of focus of MetroLabs. I'm not sure that I see it there. Was earlier.
Oh, okay.
Advancing health. Yeah. Can you help understand advancing health through tailored solutions? In our world, in the city of Minneapolis, the topic of health means a lot. And it also touches on people's feelings of public safety and people's actual access to safe spaces. And could you help us understand the kind of current things going on around advancing health that is being looked at or researched through MetroLabs? And that might be a question for Ms. Doty instead.
Well, MetroLab, again, is a network that spans, as you mentioned, many, yes, different states. So we would have to take a look at that. I'm sure there's many things going on, but we really have a bountiful amount of expertise here at the University of Minnesota with the School of Public Health and the Academic Health Center and the medical school. So there are really And I should mention the nursing school too. We definitely don't do enough with the nursing school. But there are many, many projects. I think what I always say to local government is that rather than trying to figure out what's available at the university, and that's not a bad thing to do, but it's good to tee up what it is that you want. What are the questions you have, and what are the kind of things that you can't resolve with the resources that you have? And then that's where we can then start doing a good job is, do we go to the School of Public Health and get some help? Or sometimes really what you're looking at something is that would be better dealt with applied economics. It's not necessarily always the straight line connection. So I don't know if that answers your question. I can't.
I think my question was more, there are so many things available through the university and research being worked on to advance health. Are there any in particular, off the top of your head, that can really be brought to bear for Minneapolis and St. Paul or Hennepin County right now in some of the current work that you're doing?
I think that early screening and early intervention was health related, the one that I gave, that example that I gave before. I'm not sure if I can't think of another one right now, and which is really bad because there's so many things going on.
Right.
But I can't.
That's okay.
I'm sure I can follow up though and give you more examples.
Yeah. Anything else from others? Nope. Thank you so much for your time.
So just in summation, I just wanted to kind of put in this slide together a list of possibilities of the way MetroLab can be used. We can do a detailed examination of our known city problems. We can get program and concept evaluation, creation of methodologies, creation of predictive models, workshop collaboration, volunteer access, feasibility and analysis, and strategy development. So as you leave today and think about what we've said here and the things that you as policymakers would like to move forward, I want you to know that these are the ways in which MetroLab can support the ideas that you have and that you want to move forward maybe in 2020. So with that, Kathy and I are available to stand for more questions if you have any.
I think that last slide really laid it out nicely. Thank you for reminding us of this important service that I myself am only reminded about when I go past my neighbor's house.
All right. Thank you.
Next, we have postponed the $1 million 3-year contract extensions for neutral workplace investigations for ADHR specific investigations, and instead we have an RCA before us that will be presented by Ms. Fernandez or Mr. Bernardi in regards to the current business at hand we need to take care of today. Welcome, Ms. Fernandez.
Good afternoon, Chair Palmisano and committee members. This is just a simple amendment of an existing contract. The current contract actually goes until December 31st of 2020. And we have some work that is going on, as you know. And because the other RFP and the related contracts are taking a little longer than we expected, we want to be able to pay those invoices that are coming in. And so HR is asking for a $50,000 increase for the existing contract.
Ms. Fernandez, can you help explain to my colleagues, because I have not had a chance to connect with them individually, on what ADHR investigations are in the workplace and why we do them through a third-party vendor?
I won't be the right person to answer that one.
Perhaps
Sorry.
Mr. Bernardi could come up
Yes.
and help us understand how this gets placed in some of the work that
Yes.
that HR does.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Councilmember Palmisano, members of the Enterprise Committee. My name is Chuck Bernardi. I'm with the Human Resources Department. AD and HR stands for Anti-Discrimination, Harassment, Retaliation. And under federal law, state law, we are required to investigate complaints of harassment, discrimination based on protected class status. From time to time, the city outsources these investigations to private firms. In these cases, they're law firms or lawyers. And those are usually done when there's a high-level official has been accused or alleged to have done something wrong in violation of the city's AD and HR policy. It could be a department head, it could be an elected official. And because of the high-profile nature of those cases, and in most cases they've been outsourced to a third-party vendor versus doing it internally. We have 2 full-time investigators in our office. They generally do the other investigations that are done each year on an ongoing basis.
Thank you. That's clear to me because I've been working with this for the past few weeks. Are there any questions, though, from my committee members on this contract item? So this contract item would suffice to complete the employment investigations that are outstanding, as well as pay things that have happened in 2019. Is that your understanding?
Councilmember Palmisano, we have approximately outstanding invoices in the amount of, I believe, $18,000. And we had this new investigation just came about. I don't have any details on that. I'm not in the need to know. But depending on the complexity, the number of interviews, I would say that up to $50,000 should suffice.
Thank you. Well, with no other further questions from my colleagues, I think we can dispense with this. I would recommend this for approval. Again, I have had a meeting with Director Ferguson, who has been doing a lot of work as to how we could better do these types of things in the future to fulfill our obligations to our employees and also do them in a meaningful way. All those in favor of this action, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries. Thank you for your help.
Thank you.
With no further business before us, we will be adjourned. Thank you.